We'd like to be the preeminent capital markets content event of the year. I think we've accomplished that and look forward to doing it again this year.
Day one of the NKF Self-Storage Symposium. A lot of great speakers. One of the things that we learned off of the capital markets panel is that capital is still relatively abundant as it relates to self-storage.
Everybody's very positive about the direction of storage, whether it's from operations, capital markets, transactions. Third-party management is really picked up. A lot of different groups getting into it.
The consensus is that the self-storage industry is very strong at the moment, and we've just gone through a huge ramp up, really gaining back all the losses of the recession and then some. It is slowing in regards to rental growth and occupancy growth, but still tons of appetite for self-storage.
Private equity continues to raise an abundance of capital. Some of the publics are talking about lower pipelines in terms of development projects. Family office capital is still sending a lot this way. So there's still a lot of capital chasing self-storage, because you've definitely heard that from an institutional standpoint, it's very much a core product in the portfolio, which if you looked 5 or 10 years ago, that wouldn't be the message that we've been hearing.
So overall, I would say this has been one of our more positive feeling symposiums over the last 5 years.
Heard from an acquisition panel, and the general consensus there was that we're probably not going to see much movement in cap rates despite some softening fundamentals. There's still a lot of capital coming into the industry, and that should hold the cap rates sort of steady here.
Interest rates are going to increase. They have to increase. They're at historic lows. And logically, the cap rate would follow. But now, everybody seems to think that the interest rates are going to be pretty low for the near term. With the appetite as strong as it is for self-storage, cap rates really aren't going to do much in the near term.
Just finished 2 great days at the Newmark Knight Frank Self-Storage Conference, finished the ping pong tournament. Now we're going to get on a boat to Kemah Boardwalk, have a great dinner, and then we're going to hit Rock the Dock and hope to see you there.
Started the conference, we did a survey with everybody on their phone. They answered 26 questions, and there were questions that we knew we'd be asking on the panels throughout the symposium. So we have the results, and I think they're interesting.
REITs are going to be there on certain transactions, but what's the rest of it look like? Why don't we start with Jim Neighbors?
I hope that's him.
No, that's not him.
I'm not going to be Tucker Carlson anymore.
No, you're Gomer Pyle. Back to data. How do you use data when you're thinking about preparing all your materials and all the different sources that are out there? How do you pull it all together?
So we spend a significant amount of time, and we look back as far as we can find the credible data. We use Union Real Time to do that.
Union Real Time platform, definitely able to see trade area detail that maybe before would take us a lot longer to kind of deep dive into.
Union Real Time is awesome. So anytime we're looking at a site, we check it out on Union Real Time, try to pull the data we can, trim from it.
Love data, more data, organized data, so you can actually make better decisions from it.
One of the key aspects that I learned personally, everyone seems to have a different take on where their preference is. Right now, primary markets are getting harder hit by supply, so NOI growth has been slower and more difficult. So some people are preferring secondary and tertiary markets because NOI growth continues to grow without the impact of new supply. Some people seem to think that new supply eventually will get to secondary and tertiary, so they are staying away from it for those reasons.
Because there's so much focus on new supply, there's focus on street rate because the new supply, I think, pivots off of street rate more than anybody. But we like events like this where you got folks that are actually seeing it, feeling it, projecting negative street rate growth, yet still 400 or 500 basis point revenue growth. Well, how do you grow revenues if street rates really mean all that much? And so it's just, I think it's going to be interesting. I expect that's going to be a theme.
I would like to thank, on behalf of everybody, the NKF team for really putting on a great event here year after year. I think the attendance and the participation that you guys get is really impressive, and I think it's a good validation of your role in the sector and the important work that you do for all of us. So appreciate that. Your hospitality is great. Thanks so much.